Thank you to the fierce Black feminists who have given us our words of fire, our courage, our strength, our medicine of their language, and the analysis for each moment. Thank you for the shoulders to stand on, the poetry of the movement, the wisdom of the moment. Thank you for speaking life over the past, present, and future. We thank you, we honor you, we extend gratitude from our hearts, and on behalf of the entire village of Black feminists, we thank you. Specializing in the wholly impossible has been our mantra in daily libation. It's been our air, our water, and our nourishment. On July 10th, we rise up and give thanks. We celebrate our milestones, each watershed moment of birth and tears, of witnessing ourselves as our ancestors' wildest dreams. It's been 10 years of struggle, 10 years of uplift, 10 years in defense of ourselves, 10 years of words of fire, and 10 years of some of us are brave. With our eyes wide open and our feet deeply planted in spells and magic and foretellings of liberation, which leaves no one behind enemy lines. Today, we celebrate the radical kinship, artistry, the humanity, and the indomitable spirit of Black women, with jazz, cabaret, rhythm and blues, spoken word and drums, leaping and dancing in a communion with each other so powerful that it will be felt through generations. Black Women's Blueprint first came to be in 2008 when our 49 co-founders, Black women primarily born and raised in Brooklyn, recognized the pressing need to invest in a blueprint for political and social justice derived from Black women's self-determination and autonomy. The founders began to host sister circles in living rooms, backyards, and around kitchen tables to address the intersectional challenges that Black women, and especially Black LGBTQI women in Brooklyn, face. Sexual violence at the hands of police and loved ones alike, the feminization of poverty, reproductive health access, and mass incarceration, among others. Most importantly, the founding of Black Women's Blueprint represented an effort by women of African descent in the diaspora to mobilize together across national and ethnic identities, countering 4 centuries of enforced and embodied interpolation, nationalist ideologies of divide and conquer, designed to prevent meaningful resistance by Black collectivities on plantations during and after the slave trade. Using human rights frameworks, we organize and develop a culture where women and girls are fully empowered and where gender, race, and other disparities are erased. We convened the first Truth and Reconciliation Commission ever to occur in the U.S., focused on women of African descent and their historical and contemporary experiences with gender-based violence. Black Women's Blueprint is a transnational Black feminist organization which celebrates and seizes the opportunities of the African diaspora while mourning the violent conditions that created it. Black Women's Blueprint works to place Black women and girls' lives, as well as their particular struggles, squarely within the context of the larger racial justice concerns of Black communities. Black Women's Blueprint is committed to building movements where gender matters in broader social justice organizing so that all members of our communities gain social, political, and economic equity. Black Women's Blueprint engages in progressive research, historical documentation, policy advocacy, and organizing steeped in the struggles of Black women within their diverse communities and within dominant culture. To support our work, donate on our website at blackwomensblueprint.org. You can also donate to us via Cash App at Black Women's BP, or via Venmo at Black Women's Blueprint, or via PayPal at bit.ly/BWB
We are stories, stitched with scars and love, draped into breaths of fabric colored, patched, hemmed, clots of moments quilted into human. Molweni, igama lam nguVangile Gancho, and I'm a poet, healer, and publisher based in South Africa. I'll be reading from my collection, Red Cotton. Breathing underwater. I am told my grandmother was a woman of the spirit, that the wind carried her off a cliff, flung her straight into the water where I was born. Wrapped in the skin of a snake, I stayed underwater for 60 days before I met my mother. In a burning hut on the mountain, she could enter only to fetch me and put me down, was allowed only to feed me, then return me to the fire. I'm told my lungs are made of water, that a snake coils around my spine, and I carry hives of bees inside my breasts. They say when a girl becomes a woman, she must leave her mother's house, not be afraid of the wind and the cliff. She must learn to trust her voice underwater. Mama and I have never truly touched. A God of someone's God has always kept us apart. Her in her prayers, me in the water. An old bride who paid her own lobola, the wayward aunt with a nip and a Bible, the cousin who stared a little too much when we bathed. I know now how Dada felt. Trapped under unflinching expectation, a butterfly with broken limbs in a jar. Here there is blooming weeds and blossoming lava, the nose at the foot of a journey. Today there is no black, no dark, no light. Today there are only blues and blood, hope and heart, a half-done face in a coffin, a brewing storm of small girls coming. I am the back of street palms, lines drawn from thirst wrapped in a chitenge. I have no reason, no excuse, nothing wounded, just a woman who walks freely into men and women. I walk into cars and arms and legs. I walk into motels on some nights or back alleys. My body knows walking. Feet, hands, penises, knows people less. My body is nothing worth remembering, nothing worth keeping or taking home. On these streets, I am a vagina for walking in and out of. The next poem I'm going to read is called Small Girl Sleeps Next to Her Mother. 2 new moons that never touch. Mother is always holding her breath, even in her sleep. Small girl rubs calamine onto mother's eyelids, plats 3, 5, 7 white beads into mother's hair. When mother awakes. Small girl is snaked around her spine. A 12-year-old girl child bleeds for the first time a year after her mother passes away. She tears a piece off her scarf for the strip of her panties. Her mother never taught her how to sit in her blood. At school, the other girls tease her. Her blood is unruly, trickling down her leg, a reused cloth washed in a basin. She learns to cut legs out of a plastic bag. Many cycles later, while giving a lecture, a woman sneezes a large clot of blood onto her panties. She can feel it threaten to spill out of her jeans. She still does not know how to bleed in public. When her daughter bleeds for the first time, she is far away. On the phone, she talks her daughter through the cramps. She cannot prepare her for the many betrayals her blood will bring. Mama, I'm burning. Fofezeka kwezi kuzwayo. I am burning, Mama. Mama, I'm burning. In a box set on fire while I slept. I slept, Mama. A girl faced the bullets head on. She caught a bullet in her eye. She's blind, Mama. Something is wrong, Mama. I kept pulling down my skirt, kept checking my lipstick. I was hiding in this box. They found me hiding, Mama. The fire is an uncle you trusted, Mama. An uncle who promised to watch me while you were gone, and while you were gone in my sleep, the fire burnt me, Mama. While you were gone, while I was sleeping, I forgot to pull down my skirt. I put too much lipstick on. I'm burning, Mama. Mama, I'm burning. Clots of blood after Hiromo Ito's coyote. My grandmother was a teacher. My mother was a healer. My mother's younger sister was a Christian. My mother's other younger sister had a paralyzed daughter. All were wonderfully beautiful. When I was born, my grandmother sent a telegram with my name. She saw me in a dream. My grandmother saw herself reborn through my mother. When I left home after she died, she visited me in a dream, painted 3 dots from blood onto my forehead. My mother birthed 4 children. Her second son took too much of her blood into his heart. When my brother died in her arms, my mother could not heal him. When I was born, 2 years after, my mother had stopped healing. All her faith clotted inside my lungs. I didn't cry when I was born. My mother held me silent for 30 minutes in her arms. When the nurse tried to pry me away from her, my grandmother's telegram arrived. My mother says I laughed when the nurse tried to take me from her. She birthed 2 children after failing to heal her second son. My mother was a believer. My grandmother was a healer. My mother's younger sister was a Christian. My mother's other younger sister had a paralyzed daughter. All were wonderfully beautiful. My mother's younger sister's paralyzed daughter died when she was 15. My mother's younger sister visited her on the other side. When her daughter returned after 3 months inside a mechanical heartbeat, she had 3 clots of blood down the front of her body, on her chest, in her navel, just above her vagina. She still could not walk. My grandmother was touched by her father's younger brother. My mother was touched by her mother's sister's husband. My mother's younger sister was also touched by her mother's sister's husband. My mother's other younger sister was touched by her mother's uncle. My mother had always wanted a daughter. She never left me alone with any of her sisters' husbands. The protection my mother gave me was the Bible, fear, and chastity. We were all afraid of God, men, and the dark. Small girl with moths in her mouth, moves in silence, knows how earthquakes begin. In the rumbling of her stomach, entire families collapse. Small girl cares too much for such a small girl. Small girl with treacherous eyes, carries too much feeling in her lungs, knows the sting of lonely. Small girl sees too much, breathes too much, takes up too much air. Small girl is too much mirror and expectation, too much wanting more. Small girl should know better than to try to fight the sun. Small girl with hands of spades. Small girl dreams too much, hopes too much, wants to plant and grow. Small girl thinks she is the ocean. Small girl is a stream. Small girl will break her heart with all this want. Small girl is not even the wind. Small girl must learn to swallow and be pretty. There is power in your voice. Even when you choose silence, there is strength in your standing. Even when you break publicly, there is life in your breath. You are fire, blazing embers, wild fields, burning winter's pain, preparing for springtime. You are everything. Tamak.
Specializing in the wholly impossible has been our mantra in daily libation. It's been our air, our water, and our nourishment. On July 10th, we rise up and give thanks. We celebrate our milestones, each watershed moment of birth and tears, of witnessing ourselves as our ancestors' wildest dreams. It's been 10 years of struggle, 10 years of uplift, 10 years in defense of ourselves, 10 years of words of fire, and 10 years of some of us are brave. With our eyes wide open and our feet deeply planted in spells and magic and foretellings of liberation, which leaves no one behind enemy lines. Today, we celebrate the radical kinship, artistry, the humanity, and the indomitable spirit of Black women, with jazz, cabaret, rhythm and blues, spoken word and drums, leaping and dancing in a communion with each other so powerful that it will be felt through generations. Black Women's Blueprint first came to be in 2008 when our 49 co-founders, Black women primarily born and raised in Brooklyn, recognized the pressing need to invest in a blueprint for political and social justice derived from Black women's self-determination and autonomy. The founders began to host sister circles in living rooms, backyards, and around kitchen tables to address the intersectional challenges that Black women, and especially Black LGBTQI women in Brooklyn, face. Sexual violence at the hands of police and loved ones alike, the feminization of poverty, reproductive health access, and mass incarceration, among others. Most importantly, the founding of Black Women's Blueprint represented an effort by women of African descent in the diaspora to mobilize together across national and ethnic identities, countering 4 centuries of enforced and embodied interpolation, nationalist ideologies of divide and conquer, designed to prevent meaningful resistance by Black collectivities on plantations during and after the slave trade. Using human rights frameworks, we organize and develop a culture where women and girls are fully empowered and where gender, race, and other disparities are erased. We convened the first Truth and Reconciliation Commission ever to occur in the U.S., focused on women of African descent and their historical and contemporary experiences with gender-based violence. Black Women's Blueprint is a transnational Black feminist organization which celebrates and seizes the opportunities of the African diaspora while mourning the violent conditions that created it. Black Women's Blueprint works to place Black women and girls' lives, as well as their particular struggles, squarely within the context of the larger racial justice concerns of Black communities. Black Women's Blueprint is committed to building movements where gender matters in broader social justice organizing so that all members of our communities gain social, political, and economic equity. Black Women's Blueprint engages in progressive research, historical documentation, policy advocacy, and organizing steeped in the struggles of Black women within their diverse communities and within dominant culture. To support our work, donate on our website at blackwomensblueprint.org. You can also donate to us via Cash App at Black Women's BP, or via Venmo at Black Women's Blueprint, or via PayPal at bit.ly/BWB PayPal.
Happy 10th anniversary, Black Women's Blueprint. 10 years ago, you recognized the need for a blueprint that benefited and reflected the needs of Black women and girls. And since then, you have not just been an organization, you have been a movement. Thank you for 10 years of telling our stories. Thank you for 10 years of political advocacy. Thank you for 10 years of organizing and engaging in progressive research that centered Black women and girls. We are grateful for you. We look forward to supporting you for 10 more years, 20 more years, as you continue to center the needs of Black women and girls in social justice and racial justice spaces. Happy 10th anniversary, Black Women's Blueprint.
Congratulations, Black Women's Blueprint. I am so proud of all of the innovative programs that this organization has spearheaded in the last 10 years. Black Women's Blueprint has made amazing steps in advocating for women and for girls, and has truly just impacted our society. I'm Dr. Pei, and I want to wish you many more years of progress and in inspiring the next generation.
Happy decade, BWB, and to many more. On behalf of myself, my son, my ancestors, we really celebrate and thank you for your intentionality and believing in our Black women across the diaspora. We thank you because your work is sacred. We thank you because your work is spiritual. We thank you because your work is necessary in healing our hearts and souls and to advance this community across the diaspora. So thank you, BWB. Farah, I love you. I love your team, of which I am a part. We stand in solidarity with you for 10,000 years more and 7 generations to come. Thank you so much for all that you do. You deserve the best, the happiest birthday. We love you. We love you. Ashe.
Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, BWB, Black Women's Blueprint, as you celebrate 10 years of great work. I am Dr. Ya Elombe Desaline X. You have been an amazing force as groundbreaking advocacy for women and girls. BWB has been a pioneer in making women aware of their strengths. May you continue to forge onward and upward, forever forward.
Happy 10th anniversary to one of the most powerful organizations that my spirit has had the opportunity and the blessing of encountering and having me be welcomed into as family. Black Women's Blueprint, you have gathered so many of us and shown us Black women what radical liberation looks like. I honor you today as a young Black Afro-Latina first generation immigrant who is a survivor, who had never seen herself centered in healing amongst Black women at that. How powerful it has been for me. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for loving me enough to surround me with the wisdom of not only our ancestors, but the women, the Black queer feminist women who surround us and hold us up, whose legacy we continue to move forward. And I honor you. I honor you for the woman that you have breathed life into and the liberation you have helped me see. Blessings and deep, deep love and reverence for you and this sacred, sacred work. We support you, we honor you, we give all the love from the McCoy family in Houston, Texas.
I love you all fiercely and dearly. Because of you all, I have grown into the fabulous woman that I am today. But seriously, in all seriousness, I connected with Black Women's Blueprint, I want to say in 2015 or 2016. It's a blur. And since then, I have grown so much with language to understand and identify with Black womanhood across the globe. I first learned about altar work through Black Women's Blueprint. I learned about pertinent history like Reese Taylor and the women's movement through Black Women's Blueprint. Black Women's Blueprint is instrumental in grassroots movements that impact the lives of all Black women.
Happy 10th anniversary to Black Women's Blueprint. You all have been such an inspiration and such a role model for so many women and so many girls. Thank you for all of your diligent hard work in bringing Black women and bringing girls into leadership positions. And I wish you the very best continued success for many, many decades. Happy 10th anniversary.
Hello everyone. I want to take a quick moment to wish a happy birthday to an organization I love, Black Women's Blueprint. I'm so very grateful for all of the work that you do and you continue to do to vision a world where Black women and girls can be free from all forms of violence and where we can live into our fullest potential. Over the years, Black Women's Blueprint has been both a social and political home for me, a place of respite where I know that I am loved and held in deep, fierce sisterhood and community. I love you all. Thank you so very much. And happy birthday, Black Women's Blueprint.
Happy birthday to Black Women's Blueprint. Thank you so much for all of the platforms and trainings and resources and services you've provided to Black women and girls over the past decade and to our community at large. We couldn't be in this moment that we're in our fight for Black liberation without the necessary work that you do, and we're looking forward to another 10 strong years and beyond.
Peace and happy anniversary, BWB. 10 years is huge, and so is the work that you've been doing across a decade and beyond, because I know that this work spans much further and wider, generations back then and generations forward, beyond a decade. However, a decade is something that's really important to commemorate, and I just want to big y'all up and say thank you for all the ways in which BWB has enhanced my life, and the Blueprint has really guided me through my being and my work, my freedom work, as a healer, as a healing justice practitioner, as a freedom fighter, as a lover, as a queer person, seeking pleasure and new ways of being inside of my being, my body, my freedom fight, my relationships in my community. There's so much more I could say, but I gotta keep it to 60 seconds. I just wanna say I love y'all and thank you for all that you do. Our communities wouldn't be the same without you. Please keep going and know that I'm here for whatever the work needs, forever and beyond. Peace.
Coucou, bonjour la famille, comment allez-vous? Ça va bien? Moi, on m'appelle Hippolyte Apova. Je suis un guide de tourisme au Bénin. Je passe par là pour vous souhaiter joyeux anniversaire à votre entreprise de 10 ans. Beaucoup de bonheur, beaucoup de travail. Que les ancêtres du Bénin vous accompagnent dans vos projets. Que la terre béninoise, la terre de vos ancêtres du Bénin vous accompagne. Et j'envoie un coucou à toute la famille américaine, noirs américains qui existent en Amérique.
Happy 10-year anniversary, Black Women's Blueprint. Wow, it's been 10 years. I just want to give a huge shout out to Farah and all of the other sisters who have been doing this work at Black Women's Blueprint, who are continuing to do this work at Black Women's Blueprint, because the work is so necessary. I was the first Black Women Rising Grassroots Activist Awardee, and I just want to say I still hold that very special to my heart, to be able to be seen for the work I was doing, and to be seen by other Black women doing that work still means so much to me. So thank you, and once again, happy 10-year anniversary.
Hi, Black Women's Blueprint family. Just wanted to say thank you guys for all that you do. Happy 10th, happy anniversary, happy birthday. I just came on recently. I think what you guys are doing is amazing. And I have to thank you for even existing and even being around. I'm so happy for you. I wish you 10 plus, infinity more. And I love you.
Hi, I want to say a huge happy birthday to Black Women's Blueprint.
Purchase your tracks today.
Thank you for all the work that you all have been doing for women like myself over these past couple of years, and the work that you all are continuing to do non-stop. It's so needed more than ever. And so I just want to say happy birthday. Thank you for all that you do and are continuing to do it. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Black Women's Blueprint. 10 years of doing such meaningful and impactful work on behalf of women of African descent that have grappled with social and racial injustices, a plethora of them. Thank you so much for your sacrifice, for your commitment, for your contributions to actually making change and driving change on our behalf. I'd like to just honor and celebrate Farah and Savannah and Shonda, 3 women within the organization that have played such a leadership role and have personally impacted my life. I honor you. I see you as a Black female of African descent, as a woman who has experienced many of the injustices that you fight on our behalf against. It means the world to have you in our corner. And today, a decade after you made the commitment and embarked on this journey towards social and racial justice on our behalf, here we are. There's still so much work to do, but already you have quite literally transformed lives. And so today I just wanted to celebrate you and acknowledge this really important occasion, and to encourage you to please remain focused and do not give up the fight. It is because of you, your heart, your spirit, your minds that are dedicated to this war. It is not a battle, it is multiple battles and a larger war on behalf of our humanity that we will win. We will ultimately rise up to meet our greatest and highest potential and calling as women of African descent. Thank you so much with love and gratitude. Asante sana. Mungu akubariki.
Hi, my name is Kenyette Tisha Barnes, and I am the co-founder of the Mute R. Kelly movement. In 2017, when R. Kelly had concerts scheduled in the New York area, we needed comrades on the ground to help with those protest actions. And without missing a beat, the Black Women's Blueprint picked up the baton, ran with it, successfully canceling one of his concerts, protesting another, and spreading awareness that Black girls matter more than music. It has been my honor, it has been my pleasure to work with such an amazing group of Black women who are dedicated to making sure that Black girls matter, that sexual violence in the Black community can no longer be swept under the rug. And on your 10th anniversary, it is my honor to wish you well. Happy anniversary. Continue the great work. You will always have an ally in me. And take a bow because you deserve it. Happy anniversary, Black Women's Blueprint.
Happy birthday, Black Women's Blueprint. Thank you so much for the past 10 years of amazing work that you've done on behalf of Black women. And I know you're going to continue doing everything to advocate for the true equality for all of us.
Happy birthday to Black Women's Blueprint. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for being the foundation of everything that we have. We wouldn't be anywhere without Black women. I wouldn't be here without you all. So I sincerely thank y'all. I want to wish y'all nothing but the best. Continue to inspire not just black women, but black men, people, and everyone else who gets to enjoy this message. We'll continue to fight and stand for y'all. Happy birthday!
I had that resistance, I met it with resistance, and then you all came and met it with me. Yeah. And we pushed back. And when we pushed back, we gave back 20 years. Yeah. And when they tried to give me 60, we gave that back too. Yeah.
It's extremely affirming to hear another survivor say, I was sexually assaulted, and it is emboldening, and it is empowering, and it provides hope that someone will hear you. It provides hope that finally the day has arrived where survivors can begin to speak. There's a power in telling our stories because it allows for people to connect to us as human beings. And so when I say I am a survivor, other survivors see me as a human being, and by seeing me as a human being, it rehumanizes them.
Specializing in the wholly impossible has been our mantra in daily libation. It's been our air, our water, and our nourishment. On July 10th, we rise up and give thanks. We celebrate our milestones, each watershed moment of birth and tears, of witnessing ourselves as our ancestors' wildest dreams. It's been 10 years of struggle, 10 years of uplift, 10 years in defense of ourselves, 10 years of words of fire, and 10 years of some of us are brave. With our eyes wide open and our feet deeply planted in spells and magic and foretellings of liberation, which leaves no one behind enemy lines. Today, we celebrate the radical kinship, artistry, the humanity, and the indomitable spirit of Black women, with jazz, cabaret, rhythm and blues, spoken word and drums, leaping and dancing in a communion with each other so powerful that it will be felt through generations. Black Women's Blueprint first came to be in 2008 when our 49 co-founders, Black women primarily born and raised in Brooklyn, recognized the pressing need to invest in a blueprint for political and social justice derived from Black women's self-determination and autonomy. The founders began to host sister circles in living rooms, backyards, and around kitchen tables to address the intersectional challenges that Black women, and especially Black LGBTQI women in Brooklyn, face. Sexual violence at the hands of police and loved ones alike, the feminization of poverty, reproductive health access, and mass incarceration, among others. Most importantly, the founding of Black Women's Blueprint represented an effort by women of African descent in the diaspora to mobilize together across national and ethnic identities, countering 4 centuries of enforced and embodied interpolation, nationalist ideologies of divide and conquer, designed to prevent meaningful resistance by Black collectivities on plantations during and after the slave trade. Using human rights frameworks, we organize and develop a culture where women and girls are fully empowered and where gender, race, and other disparities are erased. We convened the first Truth and Reconciliation Commission ever to occur in the U.S., focused on women of African descent and their historical and contemporary experiences with gender-based violence. Black Women's Blueprint is a transnational Black feminist organization which celebrates and seizes the opportunities of the African diaspora while mourning the violent conditions that created it. Black Women's Blueprint works to place Black women and girls' lives, as well as their particular struggles, squarely within the context of the larger racial justice concerns of Black communities. Black Women's Blueprint is committed to building movements where gender matters in broader social justice organizing so that all members of our communities gain social, political, and economic equity. Black Women's Blueprint engages in progressive research, historical documentation, policy advocacy, and organizing steeped in the struggles of Black women within their diverse communities and within dominant culture. To support our work, donate on our website at blackwomensblueprint.org. You can also donate to us via Cash App at Black Women's BP, or via Venmo at Black Women's Blueprint, or via PayPal at bit.ly/BWB
everybody's under fire these days because it seems like difference is a plague that's trying to be washed away.
We cannot afford to waste each other's energies in our common battles.
Our narratives were torn out of us and replaced with shame.
But where are these narratives?
Mother Tongue Monologues is a practice in radical politics. It is a vehicle for bringing Black feminist theory outside of the academia to the grassroots community and using art to do so.
We are shouting Rosa Parks and Fannie Lou Hamer, Assata Shakur, and Ya Asentewa, my sister, and Winnie Mandela are singing in my throat, the Holy Ghost linguist.
This year we're making a critical pivot in the movement for gender justice by bringing various people together to talk about the extremely taboo issue of sexuality within Black communities, and we're framing it within the context of breaking the silence about what ails us and within the context of Black sexual politics.
You don't catch it like the common code, yet the one accusation that seems to render even the most vocal straight Black woman totally silent and ineffective is a suggestion she might be a Black lesbian.
I fall in love with female people, and I want to.
When I say I'm a Black lesbian, I mean I'm a woman whose primary focus of loving, physical and emotional, is directed to women.
This is a really important conversation to have.
When I say I'm a Black feminist, I mean I recognize my power as well as my primary oppressions come as a result of my Blackness as well as my womanness.
We are making history today.
Samara, the love do reign queen. They have forgotten the ancestral wives.
This year, Mother Tongue Monologues is highlighting and amplifying the voices of human rights defenders from the African diaspora to the Caribbean.
But where are these narratives? Why do we not have access to our own history? To the lives of our own foremothers, foresisters, and our forefathers who did love and may marry each other?
This year, we are thrilled to be honoring Aisha Shahida Simmons, who is the creator of No, the rape documentary, which has given voice to several survivors and victims who have been silenced, who have not yet found the language to even speak. We're also honoring Stacey Ann Chin, who is a fireball. She is a tremendous force to be reckoned with.
As long as we are breathing, that humanity will continue to struggle against itself and put some people in places where we always need to be thinking about breaking open the structure as it exists so that we can make room for other people. Because if it's not Black women, then it's going to be poor white women. And if it's not poor white women, then it's going to be little girls. And if it's not little girls, then it's going to be the incarcerated men who are in this country. And so we have our focus, but we have to remember that as long as one group of people are held captive of an unjust society, of an unjust system of living, then we all are prisoners. We all are.
Anytime a person of color, a woman of color, a Black lesbian steps onto a stage, into a performance space, art is not for its own sake. We are doing this work because we have to.
I am not your enemy. I want to be recognized. I'm a Black lesbian, and I am your sister.
When I was in the 3rd grade, I thought that I was gay, cause I could draw. My uncle was, and I kept my room straight. I told my mom, tears rushing down my face. She's like, Ben, you've loved girls since before pre-K. Tripping. Yeah, I guess she had a point, didn't she? Bunch of stereotypes all in my head. I remember doing the math, like, yeah, I'm good at Little League. A preconceived idea of what it all meant. For those that like the same sex, had the characteristics. The right-wing conservatives think it's a decision, and you can be cured with some treatment in religion. Man-made rewiring of a predisposition, playing God. Oh nah, here we go. America the brave still fears what we don't know. And God loves all his children. It's somehow forgotten, but we paraphrase a book written 3,500 years ago. I don't know.
And I can't change, even if I tried, even if I wanted to. And I can't change, even if I tried, even if I wanted to. My love, she keeps me warm. She keeps me warm. She keeps me warm. She keeps me warm.
If I was gay, I would think hip-hop hates me. Have you read the YouTube comments lately? Man, that's gay. Gets dropped on the daily. We become so numb to what we're saying. A culture founded from oppression. Yeah, we don't have acceptance for them. Call each other faggots behind the keys of a message board. A word rooted in hate, yet our genre still ignores it. Gay is synonymous with the lesser. It's the same hate that's caused wars from religion, gender to skin color, the complexion of your pigment. The same fight that led people to walkouts and sit-ins. It's human rights for everybody. There is no difference. Live on and be yourself. When I was at church, they taught me something else. If you preach hate at the service, those words aren't anointed. That holy water that you soak in has been poisoned when everyone else is more comfortable remaining voiceless rather than fighting for humans that have had their rights stolen. I might not be the same, but that's not important. No freedom till we're equal. Damn right I support it.
Sister historian Paula Giddings said, sexuality is the last taboo in the Black community.
It's more than just a show. It's activism. It has a purpose.
Feelings.
This year was extremely difficult for us. At the beginning of the year when we announced Mother Tongue Monologue, our door was vandalized. We have never had so many people unsubscribe to our email list because the word lesbian was contained in the production this year. What does this mean? This means that this is a revolution. Revolution is never easy. No one ever is like, oh, no one wants to give up their power and privilege, whether that be race, whether that be gender, whether that be sexuality. And so this means that we are all, as Stacey Ann Chin has said many times, living on the right side of history. You know, it's so important and it's so critical to have people be involved year after year. Your commitment means so much more than you can ever imagine. Our feet don't touch the ground when we plan Mother Tongue Monologues because of each one of you. Because you come back, you get it. And that's really difficult, to get folks who get it. Get work about sexual violence, get work about ending poverty, who get the work about ending discrimination and about equal rights and human rights and civil rights and all those things that are our God and Goddess given right by virtue of the fact that we were born on this earth. And so this is what Mother Tongue Monologues is about every single year. And we thank you. We thank you. Just amazing. And every year I say this, I am in awe of each and every one of you. Good evening and welcome, everyone. My name is Farah Tanis, and on behalf of all of us at Black Women's Blueprint, I welcome each and every one of you to the space today. Founders, the board of directors, and members of Black Women's Blueprint and the Museum of Women's Resistance, it is our distinct privilege to honor these present-day freedom fighters.
I've never seen myself divorced from a collective, a global collective of women and men and children and people who identify in between. I've never seen myself as separate from that group of people, that global army of people who do this work. So I say thank you, and I say I accept this award, I accept this acknowledgement, I accept this moment of I see you on behalf of all the people who never get to sit in any space where someone says, I see you, or here is a staff, or here is a plaque, or here is a moment when I'm saying that I'm seeing you and I'm seeing all that you do.
This is really an honor. It's, Tony Capambara used to always say it is the community that you come from that you want to name you, to claim you, to celebrate you, to honor you. This is about something that we have created. So do not be ashamed of the word Black feminist. Ashe.
And it's wonderful to be in a space where you feel like you're at home, a space where there's love, and the love is coming out, a space where you can express, enjoy, articulate, lose control. Yes. So I would really like to honor that and appreciate it in this space. And to honor a group of 25 women who had the courage in 2003 to set up the Coalition of African Lesbians.
On May 11th, 2003, a stranger killed 15-year-old Shakia Gunn, who with 4 of her friends were returning home from New York City's Greenwich Village. Shakia and her friends were waiting for a bus in Newark, New Jersey, when 2 men got out of their car, made sexual advances, and physically attacked them. The women fought back, but when Gunn told the men that she was a lesbian, one of them stabbed her in her chest.
I've never been tormented by my lesbianness. In fact, it's a part of me, as God is given as being Black. But what I have been tormented by is other people's homophobia.
The homophobia of African, African-American, Afro-Caribbean, Afro-Latino people who insist that homosexuality is a Western perversion and that it is alien to Africans have cultural amnesia. They've forgotten their own names and the names of their ancestors and the angry sea, the sand, and land from which they were taken.
Where are these narratives? Why don't we have access to our own history, to the lives of our own foremothers, foresisters, and forefathers who did love and marry each other?
Black people have always had a profound sense of spirituality and religion. The problem is, the same religion which gave strength and hope to an enslaved people and sustained my sister Harriet, Sojourner, and Ida, and countless other freedom fighters, had also been used to justify our enslavement.
See, the Black church is a paradox. On the one hand, it is the most homophobic institution in the Black community. On the other hand, it is the most homo-tolerant institution in the Black community. Many of our Black churches Y'all know I'm telling the truth. Would simply stop running if the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender members stood up and walked out. The Black church has a don't ask, don't tell policy about homosexuality. And quite frankly, the religious bigotry in the black church is killing us as a people. It is killing the people who are dying of AIDS because the church won't talk to them openly, candidly about sexuality.
For a woman to be a lesbian in a male supremacist, capitalist, misogynist, racist, homophobic, imperialistic culture is an act of resistance. A resistance that should be championed throughout the world by all the forces struggling for liberation from the same slave master. I've never been tormented by my lesbianness. In fact, it's a part of me, as God is given as being black. But what I have been tormented by is other people's homophobia.
Contrary to what most would have us believe, the commercialization of lesbianism does not signal acceptance. It does not mean all of a sudden the world has found a way to mass produce a cultural belief in sexual rights, women's rights, LGBTQ rights, or the rights of two women intimately involved with each other.
Black lesbians are not apolitical. We've been a part of every freedom struggle within this country. Black lesbians are not a threat to the black family. Many of us have families of our own. We are not white, and we are not a disease. We are women who love women. This does not mean we're going to assault your daughters in an alley on Nostrand Avenue. It does not mean we're about to attack you if we pay you a compliment on your dress. It does not mean we only think about sex any more than you only think about sex. I'm not your enemy. We do not have to become each other's unique experiences and insights in order to share what we have learned through our particular battles for survival as black women. There was a poster in the 1960s that was very popular. He's not black, he's my brother. It used to infuriate me because it implied the two were mutually exclusive. He couldn't be both brother and black. Well, I do not want to be tolerated, nor misnamed. I want to be recognized. I am a black lesbian, and I am your sister.
It was breathtaking. I'm still processing it. It was chills and just an out-of-body experience.
Each of the letters in the LGBTQIGNC community stand for something. It is a non-monolithic community. And each one group or identity is not so passive that they must have the other speak for them or need to speak for the other. We can reach for freedom in a process of mutuality. We can reach for freedom by standing, speaking, being in community, side by side with each other, by protecting each other's rights, humanity, and strengthening each other. And it is up to us whether we go on to just survive or to
worthless, dumb slut, faggot, punk. They called her number 146. Maybe you know the sting like razor blades. Maybe the desire to disappear, it resonates. Maybe you too know the feel of forgettable, that ache that lingers inside you like the taste of a last cigarette on the tongue, like the pain in your body because the work is never done. Maybe you know the sound of your dreams being crumpled into the dollar in someone else's jeans, like when your parents or your friend or the man down the street tried to pimp your self-esteem. At first, they called you pretty. Then they called you weak, good for nothing, never be worth much. Every syllable in your beautiful name and the story behind it exchanged for slurs. They've broken down your spine. sanded down your shine and branded you with their labels. Next, they'll put you in a box to put you on the shelf, hoping you'll be picked before your expiration date, but your soul is not damaged goods. We won't be fooled by those who only care about us long enough to make money off us, make us packageable, profitable, those who treat people like products, turning children into chattel, the vulnerable into victims, and maybe you've been told you deserve this. That this is all you'll ever get, so shut up and be happy. Be happy somebody wants you. But you will not be happy with bare minimums. You will not be bought and sold at a discount. Don't count your past against you. A few mistakes just gives your skin that human hue that says, I've been put into dark places and did not stay there. So don't dance in their dark rooms. Don't pose for their cameras, because your portrait's worth 1,000 words, all more beautiful than the ones you were told. Irreplaceable, unconquerable, unstoppable. You might be fractured, but unlike a fraction, you cannot be reduced. Tell them. My life is not mathematics. I'm not a statistic, not a hashtag, not a price tag. I am not a number. I have a story. A story that includes love. And survival is just the beginning. I don't have all the answers or any easy solutions, and I don't really know how this ends. But your story is yours. It's what's behind the eyes and cannot be commodified.
Specializing in the wholly impossible has been our mantra in daily libation. It's been our air, our water, and our nourishment. On July 10th, we rise up and give thanks. We celebrate our milestones, each watershed moment of birth and tears, of witnessing ourselves as our ancestors' wildest dreams. It's 10 years of struggle, 10 years of uplift, 10 years in defense of ourselves, 10 years of words of fire, and 10 years of some of us are brave. With our eyes wide open, and our feet deeply planted in spells and magic and foretellings of liberation, which leaves no one behind enemy lines. Today, we celebrate the radical kinship, artistry, the humanity, and the indomitable spirit of Black women, with jazz, cabaret, rhythm and blues, spoken word and drums, leaping and dancing in a communion with each other so powerful that it will be felt through generations. Black Women's Blueprint first came to be in 2008 when our 49 co-founders, Black women primarily born and raised in Brooklyn, recognized the pressing need to invest in a blueprint for political and social justice derived from Black women's self-determination and autonomy. The founders began to host sister circles in living rooms, backyards, and around kitchen tables to address the intersectional challenges that Black women, and especially Black LGBTQI women in Brooklyn, face. Sexual violence at the hands of police and loved ones alike, the feminization of poverty, reproductive health access, and mass incarceration, among others. Most importantly, the founding of Black Women's Blueprint represented an effort by women of African descent in the diaspora to mobilize together across national and ethnic identities, countering 4 centuries of enforced and embodied interpolation, nationalist ideologies of divide and conquer, designed to prevent meaningful resistance by Black collectivities on plantations during and after the slave trade. Using human rights frameworks, we organize and develop a culture where women and girls are fully empowered and where gender, race, and other disparities are erased. We convened the first Truth and Reconciliation Commission ever to occur in the U.S., focused on women of African descent and their historical and contemporary experiences with gender-based violence. Black Women's Blueprint is a transnational Black feminist organization which celebrates and seizes the opportunities of the African diaspora while mourning the violent conditions that created it. Black Women's Blueprint works to place Black women and girls' lives, as well as their particular struggles, squarely within the context of the larger racial justice concerns of Black communities. Black Women's Blueprint is committed to building movements where gender matters in broader social justice organizing so that all members of our communities gain social, political, and economic equity. Black Women's Blueprint engages in progressive research, historical documentation, policy advocacy, and organizing steeped in the struggles of Black women within their diverse communities and within dominant culture. To support our work, donate on our website at blackwomensblueprint.org. You can also donate to us via Cash App at Black Women's BP, or via Venmo at Black Women's Blueprint, or via PayPal at bit.ly/BWB-PayPal.
Today is no coincidence. And we are not, nor have we ever been, isolated incidents. Some of us have been holding our breath for 400 years. We are seeking justice as we define it. We are seeking healing as we define it. Today is about what has happened to Black women's bodies, to their souls. If it feels disruptive, be prepared. If it feels disruptive, it is because rape is disruptive. If our testimonies are painful to hear, it is because rape is painful to bear. Because the United States is one of the few places in the world where mass rapes have occurred systematically against an entire race of people and the Black women among these people, and there has been no outcry, no processes for justice, and still little to no acknowledgement, no resources, no recognition of such violations officially, and its impact on Black women and girls today. That's unacceptable. So today, because it is unacceptable, unapologetically today, we do not ask. We expect truth and justice. We declare a Truth and Reconciliation Commission and make it manifest right here on this soil.
We have to talk about what Black women have endured, what we continue to endure, and what we continue to face. We have to talk about it. 60% of Black women and girls in the United States have experienced sexual violence. This violence impacts our communities for generations and generations. We will not allow this nation to continue to be silent. It was built on our backs and with our wombs and with our hands, and without us, there would be no United States of America. Any conversation about this nation known as the United States of America must include all of the ways in which Black women specifically have been abused, objectified, exploited, oppressed, invisibilized, traumatized, infantilized, dehumanized. We have to talk about the ways in which Black women specifically are targeted for specific types of abuse and violence and denied access to our own definitions of what it means to live in our bodies. So what does this nation owe Black women? Everything.
The narrative that was expressed to me growing up was you are nothing, you come from nothing, you'll never be nothing, your life has no value, your body has no worth, no one will ever love you, nurture, or respect you, and you will never ever be good for anything else but sex. From the age of 10 until 12, my pastor molested me daily. Then at 12, he began to violently and repeatedly rape me. I tried to tell, and my grandmother's response was just what Pastor said. Pastor is good to this family, and whatever he wants, that's what you better do. And so I did. My new narrative for my life is to repurpose, redefine, and realign my life. I made a conscious choice to change my narrative. I understand today that I am not a tragedy, I am not a mistake, I am not a victim, I am not a coincidence, I am not a circumstance. I stopped saying I went through this and began saying this is what I came out of.
I came from what I thought was an ideal family. 5 brothers, 2 sisters, 8 kids, mom and dad. I thought it was ideal. When I was 14, my mother allowed my 27-year-old cousin to babysit me. And this married man somehow thought it would be a better idea to have sex with me. It was in telling my mother that I was pregnant that she found out about the rape. And she beat me. I'd never seen my mother so incandescently mad at me, ever. I didn't find out until I'd worked at the Rape Crisis Center and I was 35 years old, 7 years after I'd left the center. My mother calls me and she says, Loretta, I think you're the only child I can tell this to. I said, what, Ma? She's like, you know, I had incest too. From age 8 to 16. That's why I married your father, to get away from home. And all of a sudden, I started to reimagine what had happened to my mother and why she beat me. Because she'd never had no healing, you know? And I was the manifestation of her helplessness and her rage and everything she tried to protect me from, and I was a manifestation of her failure to protect me. And so she took it out on me. And all I could say to Mom was then, Mama, why'd you tell me this when I needed to know? You know? 20 years, my son was 20 years old by then, and I'm just finding out about this. But she told me when she could tell me. So, what do Black women owe each other? I think the number one thing is to tell the truth about our lives.
I have been sexually assaulted 5 times by 5 different people. Each time was forced. The most significant time for me would be the last one, the most emotionally painful. I was 24. It happened at my friend's house. I had been friends with him for many years. I believe it was 6 at this point, and never expected anything to happen like this. I am a lesbian, and he knew that. My girlfriend at the time was there with me, along with his wife. We were hanging out, as we've done many times before. I wasn't tired, but she was, and his wife was, so they went to bed. He and I stayed up, playing video games, and then started working on music. We both played the violin, and this was the thread that tied us together as friends and musicians. I really had a terrible wisdom tooth problem at the time, and it flared up really bad that night. He said he had morphine from a dental surgery of his own, and he gave me one. I'd never taken it before, so it was quite strong, and I became very, very loopy. The next thing that I know, he started fondling me. I said no over and over, but he kept insisting. I ended up conceding to hopefully get him to leave me alone. It was completely uncomfortable, and I hated it. I put down my violin, and I couldn't pick it up for the past 5 years. Touching it gave me flashbacks, literal flashbacks of that night. I visually saw his face every time I held it. My night terrors got worse. I had lost one of the most important things in the world because he decided to violate me and take it. This is for you guys and for myself.
What's up? I'm camera ready.
Go to a place.
My name is Frances Bradley, and I am a visual and performing artist. I believe that I am a messenger from the Creator, and art is my highest form of communication.
So my spirit can fly free.
The name of the series is called Womanhood or Woman's Hurt. What is womanhood? You know, because so many women that I have spoken to have the same story as mine, you know, have some type of story of being, you know, molested or raped or disrespected or domestically, you know, hit or whatever the case is. And it's just a lot of responsibility that we have to take on. So what do we do with that hurt? You know, we know what womanhood is, but what do we do with that hurt? This is a part of the therapy of releasing, you know, and telling a story and trying to go further than just experiencing what has happened, but to move forward. So it's a progressive thing, you know. Every time I talk about it or every time I work on a new piece, it's a new part of me that's shedding.
So my spirit can fly free.
Both black and female was not valued by the country where I was born. The impact of sexual violence on black women is in my own painful memories of experiencing rape twice before the age of 25. It is in the experiences of my black female friends, colleagues, and students as they have struggled with being molested, abused, harassed on the street, drugged, and sexually assaulted by both strangers and family, friends, first-time dates, and lifelong mentors like the artist standing next to me, Frances Naila Bradley. The impact can be felt in the vast numbers of black women in the U.S. who have been raped, somewhere between 40 to 60%, with only 1 in 10 reporting, and when they do report, experiencing the lowest conviction rates of all ethnic groups. The impact can be felt in the lives of young black women who drop out of universities due to PTSD because faculty and staff are not educated on how to support them in filing a report. This is where the impact is in violation of Article 5B of CERD regarding the attainment of security of persons and protection by the state against violence and bodily harm. This is where the impact is most deeply felt, inside police departments, hospitals, schools, judicial buildings, and even racial justice movements, where black women are told that justice is not for them, that no one will protect them, that their civil rights as Americans and their human rights as people mean nothing. I ask the committee to ask the U.S. government to ensure that black female victims of sexual violence are given support services that are culturally competent, that all rape kits are tested in a timely and responsible manner, and for discrimination against black victims inside the courts to be eliminated at both the local and state levels. Black women in the U.S. deserve justice now. Thank you.
Boy, I chose healing, because healing is important. It's critical. If I expected to have any kind of a life, whatever life I had left in me after going through that, I wanted it to be worthwhile. I have so many scars to remind myself of what happened. Every time I would look in the mirror, it was a reminder. You know, I would see the scar. And yes, and those are the ones that take forever to heal sometimes, you know. He tried to cut my throat, but I was lucky enough and I put up my arm and I was able to block the knife, but I got a huge scar on my arm. Well, one day after he busted my nose and my lip in front of his entire family and told me he was going to send me home to my mother in a body bag. So the next morning, I got up with the clothes I had on my back, my pocketbook, made sure I had my papers, and I had one token. And he says to me, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm just going up the street to go window shopping." He was like, "Oh, okay. You know, have a good time, but make sure you don't stay too long." I made it downstairs. I continued walking. I went so scared because I was expecting him to just run down those stairs and, you know, God only knows what. My heart was pounding, girl. I was like, oh, God, please let me make it to the train. Just let me make it to the train. And I'm hoping that the train would just be there when I got upstairs. So I got on that train and I never looked back. But thank God, I'm here. I'm alive and I'm living my life now.
Why should I feel discouraged? And why should the shadows come? And why should my heart feel lonely and lone for heaven and home, when Jesus is my portion, a constant friend is He. His eyes on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches over me. And I sing because I'm happy, and I sing because I'm free. Oh, His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me, yeah.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the heart rise, let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died, yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our people sigh. We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. Out from the gloomy past till now we stand at last, where the bright gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path we pray. Lest our feet straight from the places of God where we may be, lest our hearts drunk with the wine of the world we forget thee, shadowed beneath thy hand. May we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land. just wanna praise you forever and ever and ever for all you've done for me. Blessings and glory and honor, they all belong to you. Thank you, Jesus, for blessing me. I just want to thank you forever and ever and ever for all you've done for me. Blessings and glory and honor, they all belong to you. Thank you, Jesus, for blessing me. I just want to love you forever and ever and ever for all you've done for me. Blessings and glory and honor, they all belong to you. Thank you, Jesus, for blessing me. I just want to thank you forever, forever and ever and ever and ever for all you've done for me. Blessings and glory and honor, they all belong to you. Yes. Blessings and glory and honor, they all belong to you. Blessings and glory and honor, they all belong to you. Blessings and glory and honor, they all belong to you. Blessings and glory and honor, they all belong to you. Blessings and glory and honor, they all belong to you. Blessings and glory and honor, they all belong to you. Blessings and glory and honor, they all belong to you. Thank you, Jesus, for blessing me. I lift my hands in total adoration unto you. You reign on the throne, for you are God and God alone. Because of you, my cloudy days are gone. I can sing to you this song. I just want to say that I love you more than anything. I lift my hands in total adoration unto you. You reign on the throne, for you are God and God alone. Because of you my cloudy days are gone. I can sing to you this song. I just want to say that I love you more than anything. Love me in your arms. You were my shelter from the storm. When all my friends were gone, you were right there all alone. I never known a love like this before. I just want to say that I love you more than anything. I love you, Jesus. I worship and adore you. Just want to tell you, Lord, I love you more than anything. I love you, Jesus. I worship and adore you. Just want to tell you, Lord, I love you more than anything. I love you, Jesus. I worship and adore you. Just want to tell you, Lord, I love you more than anything. I love you, Jesus. I worship and adore you. Just want to tell you, Lord, I love you more than anything. I love you, Jesus. I worship and adore you. Just want to tell you, Lord, I love you more than anything. Missed the Saturday dance. Heard they crowded the floor. Couldn't bear it without you. Don't get around much anymore. Thought I'd visit the club. Got as far as the door. they'd have asked me about you. Don't get around much anymore. Darling, I guess my mind's more at ease. Oh, nevertheless, why stir up memories? Been invited on dates, might have gone, but what for? It's awfully different without you. Don't get around much anymore. Awfully different without you. Awfully different without you. Yeah. Don't get around much anymore. Well, darling, I guess my mind's more at ease. But nevertheless, why stir up memories? Been invited on dates, might have gone, but what for? It's awfully different without you. Don't get around much anymore. It's very clear our love is here to stay, not for a year, but ever and a day. The radio and the telephone and the movies that we know may just be passing fancies, and in time may go. But oh my dear, our love is here to stay. Together we're going a long, long way. In time the Rockies may grow taking my freedom, pulling it off the shelf, putting it on my chain, wearing it round my neck. I'm taking my freedom, putting it in my car, wherever I choose to go. It will take me far. Living my life like it's golden, 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 golden, living my life like it's 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 golden, golden. I'm taking my own freedom, putting it in my song, singing loud and strong, grooving all day long. Taking my own freedom, I'm putting it in my stroll. I'll be high stepping, y'all, letting the joy unfold down. Living my life like it's golden, 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 golden, living my life like it's 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 golden, golden. I'm holding on to my freedom, can't take it from me. I was born into it, it comes naturally. I'm strumming my own freedom, ripping the God in me, representing His glory. Hope He's proud of me. Living my life like it's golden, 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 golden, living my life like it's 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 golden, 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 living my life like it's golden, 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 living my life like it's golden, 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 living my life like it's golden, 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 living my life like it's golden, 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 living my life like it's golden, 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 living my life like it's golden, 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 golden. I'm living my life like it's golden, 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 living my life like it's golden, 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 golden.
Specializing in the wholly impossible has been our mantra in daily libation. It's been our air, our water, and our nourishment. On July 10th, we rise up and give thanks. We celebrate our milestones, each watershed moment of birth and tears, of witnessing ourselves as our ancestors' wildest dreams. It's been 10 years of struggle, 10 years of uplift, 10 years in defense of ourselves, 10 years of words of fire, and 10 years of some of us are brave. With our eyes wide open and our feet deeply planted in spells and magic and foretellings of liberation, which leaves no one behind enemy lines. Today, we celebrate the radical kinship, artistry, the humanity, and the indomitable spirit of Black women, with jazz, cabaret, rhythm and blues, spoken word and drums, leaping and dancing in a communion with each other so powerful that it will be felt through generations. Black Women's Blueprint first came to be in 2008 when our 49 co-founders, Black women primarily born and raised in Brooklyn, recognized the pressing need to invest and a blueprint for political and social justice derived from Black women's self-determination and autonomy. The founders began to host sister circles in living rooms, backyards, and around kitchen tables to address the intersectional challenges that Black women, and especially Black LGBTQI women in Brooklyn, face. Sexual violence at the hands of police and loved ones alike, the feminization of poverty, reproductive health access, and mass incarceration, among others. Most importantly, the founding of Black Women's Blueprint represented an effort by women of African descent in the diaspora to mobilize together across national and ethnic identities, countering 4 centuries of enforced and embodied interpolation, nationalist ideologies of divide and conquer, designed to prevent meaningful resistance by Black collectivities on plantations during and after the slave trade. Using human rights frameworks, we organize and develop a culture where women and girls are fully empowered and where gender, race, and other disparities are erased. We convened the first Truth and Reconciliation Commission ever to occur in the U.S., focused on women of African descent and their historical and contemporary experiences with gender-based violence. Black Women's Blueprint is a transnational Black feminist organization which celebrates and seizes the opportunities of the African diaspora while mourning the violent conditions that created it. Black Women's Blueprint works to place Black women and girls' lives, as well as their particular struggles, squarely within the context of the larger racial justice concerns of Black communities. Black Women's Blueprint is committed to building movements where gender matters in broader social justice organizing so that all members of our communities gain social, political, and economic equity. Black Women's Blueprint engages in progressive research, historical documentation, policy advocacy, and organizing steeped in the struggles of Black women within their diverse communities and within dominant culture. To support our work, donate on our website at blackwomensblueprint.org. You can also donate to us via Cash App at Black Women's BP, or via Venmo at Black Women's Blueprint, or via PayPal at bit.ly/BWB
It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
No justice.
No justice.
No peace.
No peace.
No justice.
No justice.
No peace.
No peace.
No justice.
No justice.
No peace.
No peace.
If we don't get it, shut it down. If we don't get it,
shut it down.
If we don't get it,
shut it down.
vibration, with high frequencies, you can be louder. You can be bigger. You can go harder for Black women.
I'm here as a non-binary person to support Black women. I'm here to support survivors of sexual assault, and I'm here to support communities that want to live free from fear of state violence.
I'm here because not just as a Black woman, but someone who is raised and surrounded by Black women, I find it important to be solid in your solidarity.
This is a cause that is more than worthwhile, especially for myself as a Black male and an HBCU student. You know, if it weren't for Black women, I wouldn't be here today.
Black women, it's still the most disrespected woman in America, unfortunately and sadly.
This is a good opportunity to also lift up women and femmes who are in prison.
Everybody sometimes neglect the fact that Black women are a major part of all historical histories, such as Women's March, Rosa Parks, and many others.
I've been in management pretty much my whole life, but what other races and other genders get, I don't get because of who I am, and that's not fair.
Like if there was a totem pole of society, Black women fall at the bottom of the totem pole.
Looking at the current state of our country and just the things that have been going on, we haven't progressed as much as we think we have.
Because it's one thing to support women, and then it's a whole nother thing to take it to like a specific level and be like, Black women, like you're not excluded. Like it's literally like, this is y'all, this is about y'all.
It's very important to bring awareness to these issues and to actually try and do something about it. It's easy to look at the headlines and feel discouraged and to feel sad. It's another thing to take action and to do something. The media tends to overlook a lot of issues that we face, especially concerning Black women, and they choose not to see it as a priority even though it is.
You also have to look at what media you're looking at, because I look at Fox, I mean, that's like horrible stuff. That's not true. And they have an audience.
It's one thing to be like, Black women are oppressed, and it's another thing to be like, this is specifically what's going on and how Black women are oppressed, because it's not something that's really like on TV.
Part of this issue is that like what we're wanting to be free, like Black women want to be free, not equal to white women, and right now we have all these things telling us that like what freedom looks like for us is like what white women have been afforded under the law, and we know that's not true.
I think it's important to give Black women the voice and the space and the platform to say what they need to say and to present their own, ideas, wishes, hopes, dreams.
I spent most nights reading tales of Nubians bathing naked in a Nile, Kushite queens equal to kings, all of them praying to a Black woman named Isis, the most powerful goddess among gods. Even as our sorrow sits inside our bellies, even when we cannot conjure the right words. Never forget! Never forget!
I believe in the power of women. I believe in the power of Black women. Let us not forget that we are the movement. We are now. If not, now when? If not us, who? Tell me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Black women matter. Black women matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter.
I'm sick and tired of patriarchy. I'm sick and tired of misogyny. I'm sick and tired of systems that oppress people. And I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I think as a new elder in this movement, I've come to support my sisters, the youth, and all of the people that want to demonstrate against hatred and racism.
Black women have consistently carried us and sustained us, and so honoring Black women is necessary every day for Black people, for Black communities, but especially today because we are intentionally saying that we're here, we've been here, we're still here, we're leading us to a place that we haven't gotten to, and in order to do that we must recognize the importance and the beauty of all that we are in our entirety. And so we're hoping that the people who attend this march will create a movement for Black women to be fine just as we are, without any apologies, without any exceptions, for our leadership to be honored.
Black girls, they matter here.
I think it's important to come out here and support Black women because Black women have historically been there for Black men, and it's our job as Black men to stand up and say that we're tired of the injustices that are happening to Black women. If you look at a lot of income and stuff like that, Black women are at the bottom, and it's gone on for too long. So we really just want to empower Black women and show them that we're here.
I have Black women in my family that have empowered me throughout my life, and I believe it's important for young Black men to stand in solidarity with Black women, because when it comes to the movement, you don't think of Black women, you think of Black men. I think that's problematic because Black women are the foundation of all Black movements, and they established everything in order for us to be here.
Say what you plan. Say her name. Therese Francis. Say her name.
So when we have marches like this, it's really important to uplift the most marginalized of Black communities, and that is Black trans women, that is Black women, as a whole. So to me, I'm out here really making sure to uplift the most marginalized of Black women. I was at the march in January, and there were sections of it that, I came with a bus of Black and, brown people, but that march was very much dominated by white women, and white women are the ones who voted for Trump, right, over 50%. Black women didn't do that. And so for me, it's really important to have a march that is very specific for Black women and uplift the most marginalized within that demographic.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. It is our duty to win. We must love each other and support each other. We must love each other and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our dreams. We have nothing to lose.
I don't like introducing myself, but I think people will get to know me through the way that I answer the questions.
Woman is the creator of the shrine.
As African feminists, spirituality is almost like at the core of how we perceive ourselves, how we see ourselves. And obviously then when you use the word spirituality, it's not a homogeneous, we're not talking about homogeneous belief. People believe in different things. But there's a center. There's a center from which we draw our power, as women, as African women. This is something that is coming more and more in terms of, lesbian, queer, transgendered, people. And Africa has got its own conservative elements that refuses to accept difference. And that if you don't follow the dominant narrative, which is most often conventional and oppressive, if you don't follow that, then you suffer the consequences. And of course, because of how patriarchy has embellished women's place and power within spirituality, it's almost as if women have got no role. But also, the majority of, it's a very difficult question to answer because already the issues of difference come into play. The issue of race. Obviously, black and white feminists wouldn't necessarily have the same agenda, the same narrative. It really varies. You don't have one narrative. Yeah, it varies according to where people are at. It varies according to age as well. A young black feminist who is at the university now would disagree with me on a whole lot of issues. And she would be more angry. As an example, she would be propelled by rage and looking back and saying, what have you guys been doing? Because we're still fighting the same battles. And I know that most of the time when I speak to young feminists and I talk about healing, they don't want to hear anything about it. And that rage for me is essential. My view is that we need all energies because the issue is multifaceted. Audre Lorde was kind of very clear that there is no single struggle. So we need all energies, and therefore, I don't think we have one narrative.
What's your name?
Yelisa Mpopisa. I'm from Eastern Cape in South Africa. I'm an African, and I'm proud to being an African. But the things that are happening on this side, it seems as if things are so complex and dynamics of art, because I live art. There's nothing art I can do more than doing what I'm doing right now. Because it was a dream come true when I was young, and I grew up in the field whereby my mom have a kettles, and the kettles were eating plastics each and every time. So by collecting those plastics, I thought that, let me not keep it or burn it. Let me just use something. And then I take that rubbish to come back in life. So no wonder I'm wearing plastics. It's like I'm expanding into what I've known to save my mom's kettles. But I think I've found a way how to look around my environmental sustainability.
Don't her style is serious. She's amazing. Now I feel like, what do I do?
Come on, black child African people, that we are all stylish.
Amazing.
We are all stylish. I wish people they can understand what is authentic, what is fake, and what is made out of a handmade by someone who's just sitting at home unemployed, and he or she can come up with something and change the world. I wish they can be someone who's bold and show us the way that be you do what you are supposed to do on this earth, because you were born to do something. You were not just to be born to traumatize and abuse other people's life, but you can work it out by just to get close to the things that you can do and then prosper onto it.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Nina.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nina.
What we're trying to do with this van right now is do COVID-19 relief. So maintaining those values, understanding that we're going to communities of people who are experiencing trauma right now in this pandemic, but also come from marginalized communities as well. We haven't seen individual food drop-offs. We haven't seen PPE handouts. So we, with Black Women's Blueprint, are making sure that we're filling the gaps and making sure that the people in our communities are given the things that they need.
My whole life, the community has always shown up for me. Doing stuff like this helps me to feel really great about the communities that have always supported me.
But we go to areas where we're needed most. So today we were in Brooklyn. We handed out food, all kinds of food. Canned food, squash, coffee, crackers, menstrual cups, diapers.
Just because there's a pandemic happening, it doesn't mean that we are shocked or immobile or frozen and unable to hold space for ourselves in our healing and liberation work, but also holding space for our people. They aren't forgotten. You know, it's just the details of what matter, you know, in the grand scheme of things. It's always the minute things that people overlook that are really important for us to understand.
Specializing in the wholly impossible has been our mantra in daily libation. It's been our air, our water, and our nourishment. On July 10th, we rise up and give thanks. We celebrate our milestones, each watershed moment of birth and tears, of witnessing ourselves as our ancestors' wildest dreams. It's been 10 years of struggle, 10 years of uplift, 10 years in defense of ourselves, 10 years of words of fire, and 10 years of some of us are brave. With our eyes wide open and our feet deeply planted in spells and magic and foretellings of liberation, which leaves no one behind enemy lines. Today, we celebrate the radical kinship, artistry, the humanity, and the indomitable spirit of Black women, with jazz, cabaret, rhythm and blues, spoken word and drums, leaping and dancing in a communion with each other so powerful that it will be felt through generations. Black Women's Blueprint first came to be in 2008 when our 49 co-founders, Black women primarily born and raised in Brooklyn, recognized the pressing need to invest in a blueprint for political and social justice derived from Black women's self-determination and autonomy. The founders began to host sister circles in living rooms, backyards, and around kitchen tables to address the intersectional challenges that Black women, and especially Black LGBTQI women in Brooklyn, face. Sexual violence at the hands of police and loved ones alike, the feminization of poverty, reproductive health access, and mass incarceration, among others. Most importantly, the founding of Black Women's Blueprint represented an effort by women of African descent in the diaspora to mobilize together across national and ethnic identities. Countering 4 centuries of enforced and embodied interpolation, nationalist ideologies of divide and conquer, designed to prevent meaningful resistance by Black collectivities on plantations during and after the slave trade. Using human rights frameworks, we organize and develop a culture where women and girls are fully empowered and where gender, race, and other disparities are erased. We convened the first Truth and Reconciliation Commission ever to occur in the U.S., focused on women of African descent and their historical and contemporary experiences with gender-based violence. Black Women's Blueprint is a transnational Black feminist organization which celebrates and seizes the opportunities of the African diaspora while mourning the violent conditions that created it. Black Women's Blueprint works to place Black women and girls' lives, as well as their particular struggles, squarely within the context of the larger racial justice concerns of Black communities. Black Women's Blueprint is committed to building movements where gender matters in broader social justice organizing so that all members of our communities gain social, political, and economic equity. Black Women's Blueprint engages in progressive research, historical documentation, policy advocacy, and organizing steeped in the struggles of Black women within their diverse communities and within dominant culture. To support our work, donate on our website at blackwomensblueprint.org. You can also donate to us via Cash App at Black Women's BP or via Venmo at Black Women's Blueprint or via PayPal at bit.ly/BWBPayPal.
your tea with extra honey, 'cause you're my honey, baby. And I don't gotta worry about nobody. Keep it going, shine. Real love, true love, take to love. Real love, oh, real love. Oh, baby, I'm falling for you. Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Just call me
Thank you to the fierce Black feminists who have given us our words of fire, our courage, our strength, our medicine of their language, and the analysis for each moment. Thank you for the shoulders to stand on, the poetry of the movement, the wisdom of the moment. Thank you for speaking life over the past, present, and future. We thank you, we honor you, we extend gratitude from our hearts, and on behalf of the entire village of Black feminists, we thank you.